Hey guys, welcome back to this week's pool, or as Josh would like to say,
What are we reading?
And that's a great question, guys. As you can obviously tell, you've clicked on the Marvel video for this week, and the first thing we're going to start off with is Kelly Thompson and Stefano Caselli's West Coast Avengers. And I got to tell you guys right off the bat, when we first got this poster in and I had to put it up in the shop, I went, this just does not look like it's for me. This is something that I feel like
something that you could rip up.
Yeah, something I would put in your face. I'd rip it up and shove it in your face. Yeah, no, but this looked like something I wasn't going to be for me. I looked at the lineup on the cover and went, you know what? Very transparent what I think Marvel's trying to do here, but this just goes to show don't judge a book by its cover. I actually surprisingly really liked this book. This is following Kate Bishop. She's putting together a new West Coast Avengers team, and being somebody who is from the West Coast and seeing the Venice
Sharks.
Yeah, land sharks. I saw a lot of those. No, that was probably the thing I hated the most was land sharks. Stupidest thing. But Kelly Thompson used it as a device, and it worked for that. I mean, you do have Gwenpool on the team, so you have to assume a bit of fuckery in this book. You know, just suspension of disbelief.
Fuckery, is that a new word?
Yeah, it's not. I didn't make it up. But
okay.
You know, and like I said, being from the West Coast myself and seeing the Venice boardwalk and stuff, to me that was cool. It's a cool callback, and it is kind of like, you know what, the West Coast does need an Avengers team. It's a old title that they're bringing back. I'm not over ecstatic about the font for the West Coast Avengers on the book. It does look like, you know, tagging paint and stuff like that. But anyway, overall, I actually really enjoyed this. I found it to be very endearing. I found every character to have a moment to shine that made you like them or not like them, but on purpose. So, yeah, Kelly Thompson, for me, is kind of batting 1,000 lately. So, I don't know, Dallas, what do you think?
I honestly wasn't expecting a whole lot going into it, and I also wasn't going to read it, but to keep our numbers a little more equal, I was like, fine, I'll go ahead and read it.
Plus, it's an issue 1.
Right, it's an issue 1, so I was going to take one for the team, basically, with it, and honestly, I'm kind of glad I did. It surprised me. It was a fun read. I didn't expect a whole lot out of it, so I came out being pleasantly surprised. However, there were moments in the book, I'm not saying what specific moments I did find dumb.
Land sharks?
Well, that and other moments
Yeah.
closer to the end that I found goofy and dumb that were almost too goofy or dumb for what they had set up.
Right.
Me personally, when I thought the same thing that Jake thought, when I saw the poster of this, I was like, this seems like a very unnecessary thing. It seems like something that Josh is going to classically say, this was not made for me, and that I am not going to enjoy it, but someone else will. And after, I think it was Mr. and Mrs. X, you told me that Rogue and Gambit was really good, and so I went ahead and I read that, obviously, for the podcast, and I realized that Kelly Thompson, even though these books come off like they're going to be like the super SJW warrior type thing, Kelly Thompson's killing it. And I was really worried because she's doing the new Jessica Jones run, and she was killing on this, so I was like, okay, maybe this might be a little good. Read it, and I really enjoyed it. There is a few parts in it that I'm just like, okay, but when you have
especially that ending,
when you have Gwenpool on a team, like, it's like, okay, you know, it could be worse. You know,
yeah, but like when Gwenpool's involved, you have to just go, okay, I got to roll with the punches here a bit because it's Gwenpool, you know.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like having Deadpool randomly show up on somebody's honeymoon.
Yeah,
yeah.
Hey.
So, and then, you know what? Another thing I found very endearing was Kate Bishop holding the auditions. I thought the auditions were a lot of fun to read. I was cracking up. Good stuff. The last page. You know, it's so dumb. It's so stupid. Really is. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Bring it on. Why not? But I want to say what you were talking about, like the SJW thing, right? Like what people are going to be pointing to. If you look at the lineup, you've got 3 women. You've got a man of color, another man who's sexually, you know, ambiguous. They don't really address it, but like Quentin Quire, but. And, of course, you have Hawkeye, somebody who's an original West Coast Avenger, somebody to kind of tutor the team a bit. But the way they also set it up with, you know, they're being interviewed for a TV, looking for sponsorship, all this stuff, it's just a very smart way to do this, and it feels, you know, something that should be going on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and reveal the new rating system for this week's episode of Marvel, and I'm going to go ahead and give it three flat, cute herpes.
3 flat, cute herpes.
Yeah.
I think I'm honestly in the same boat. Maybe just slightly lower. I'm going to go 2.75 cute herpes.
I'm going to be honest. I'm giving it 3.25 cute herpes.
All right.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot more than what I thought I was going to.
Yeah, again, just a classic example.
And then also, like what you were saying with the whole SJW thing, like, it's not that we're against that kind of stuff in comics. It's just like a lot of times a lot of writers do not know how to do it.
No, it's
Kelly knows how to do it.
Yeah, it's usually so in your face. It wasn't that way in this book. This book wasn't pushing it on you. It's just
like Young Avengers, the way Young Avengers was. It's not like pushed in your face. I mean, a lot of times you could read it and not even realize it's in there.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Are you making fun of me?
Yes, I'm making fun of you.
I know.
Yes.
All right, well, I'll save it and move on.
All
So
right.
now we're going to get into the Amazing Spider-Man #4 by Nick Spencer and Ryan Ottley. And, of course, all the issues so far, Ottley is killing the artwork. I think we're all in agreement. I have not found a thing to complain about. Line work is just absolutely beautiful. You continue the storyline with, Peter being separated and dealing with that dilemma. So that's interesting to see, the best portions of him divided and having to conquer and figure that out. I'm having an absolute blast. This is actually probably my favorite ongoing title currently, and I'm literally having fun every moment of every page. It's just a fantastic read.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Otley's killing it, and Spencer still surprising me on writing. I think it's just mostly because like Secret Empire after that hit. No, okay. I'm like, I don't know about Nick Spencer, and then after reading his Amazing Spider-Man, like I'm almost saying like Dan Slott who.
Yeah, I'm digging this book. I'm digging the run. I'm constantly surprised at Nick Spencer's ability to take these very deep cut characters and showcase them in this book. One in particular in this book, I was like, really, you're digging this trench up? That's insane. And then I like again that he's starting to hit on a little bit more of a philosophical topic about the duality of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. As you know, having read the last issue, they're split into two different entities now, and now the way that is working, that dynamic and that relationship is playing out. It's got me very interested to see what's going further, and of course the beginning is still setting up this jungle thing. Every book so far has set up this thing in the jungle and never addresses it. I assume that once you read this series all the way through, just go back and read the trade, it will all make a lot more sense, but right now it's just throwing me off.
If I had to guess about that, I feel like that's setting up one specific villain.
Oh yeah, Kraven,
yeah.
obviously.
But the plot line, as goofy as it sounds when you tell someone who's not reading it, somehow they make it interesting. Because splitting Spider-Man and Peter into two separate entities sounds extremely stupid, just telling someone that. But reading it, I never at one point went, wow, this is really stupid.
Well, explain to somebody, that this teenager was bitten by a radioactive spider and then gained spider powers. Is it really that far outside the realm of possibility anymore?
They make it interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm enjoying about it. Everything about it's interesting, from daily life to actually heroic. So,
So, what is your rating on it?
My rating on it, probably going to go 3.75 cute herpes.
Okay.
I'm going 3.25 cute herpes.
And I'm splitting the difference, 3.5 cute herpes.
All right. So I read Life of Captain Marvel #2. It's a mini-series. How many issues is it supposed to be?
I think it's going to be
5. Margaret Stoll and Pacheco. That's a fun one. Okay. Kind of continuing off of Captain Marvel going back home and just kind of pretty much vegging it out there. Yeah. I'm still the same way that I was with the first issue, where there's a big chunk of it that I'm just like, this is really good. I like this. It's getting into psychology and family of a superhero and everything, and I'm loving that. And then they put something else in there. I'm like, why you want to do that? I don't understand why you want to add this, like, that little piece. It doesn't seem to really do anything for me. But other than that, the artwork was great. I mean, and I love the flashback scenes. They're really done nicely. Jake, what do you think? I'm digging about 80% of this book. I'm wholeheartedly invested in about 80% of this stuff when it becomes a character piece. When it's solely focused on Carol and her struggles with her family, her personal life, her deceased father, that kind of stuff, I'm totally into all that. And then when it's occasionally interrupted with this other story that's obviously setting up a metaphorical obstacle for her to overcome, that when she beats that, it's going to, alleviate all the tension she feels all pent up inside. I mean, I see it coming a mile away. Margaret Stoll is a young adult novelist. You can feel it in the book. There are times in the book that it feels very much like reading a novel because of just the way the narration works. But I'm interested in this, and I'm invested in, like I said, about 80% of this book. I like seeing Carol be vulnerable again. I like she's not this strong woman who doesn't need anybody's help. She seems like we're stripping her down to her bare bones a bit here and getting underneath of all that, and I like that. That's the meat and potatoes of this book, and that's what to me, it's a book worth picking up.
I'm kind of on both sides of the coin on this one. Kind of in the same boat. I'm enjoying, I'd say probably about 60 to 65% of the book It's an okay read. I've never been a Captain Marvel fan, but it's one of my favorite story archetypes, and I've said it countless times, where you actually get to understand the character and what they're made of. But something about it, and maybe it is that like subplot line that they're trying to throw in here that's making me so uninterested in it, because I like it when they're looking at themselves and it's trying to build up this whole other huge thing, and that's what's losing me about it. And if that wasn't in it, honestly, I would be like, I'm picking that up, I'm reading that every week, I'm excited for it. And because of that, I'm kind of really hesitant, and the only reason I'm reading it is for this.
All right, well, what would you rate it then?
I'm going to rate this specific issue probably 2.5 cute herpes.
Okay.
I'm giving it 3 cute herpes.
I'm going 2.75. All right.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm liking it, but it didn't, like, it's not enthralling me, you know?
Yeah, but 3 point. You said 3.2?
2.
I said
2
2.75.
point. Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you said 3, and I'm like, geez.
No. All right, and we're going to be moving on to another book by Kelly Thompson and Oscar Bazaldua. I fucking butchered that, I'm sorry. Mr. and Mrs. X, number 2. Everyone knows now Rogue and Gambit got married, so you can tell by the cover here, Deadpool's getting in the way and basically fucking up their honeymoon. I'm enjoying this book. I really am. I love the dynamic between Gambit and Rogue. I love the sexual innuendos being constantly thrown out by Deadpool, but I also like the love between Rogue and Gambit. The stuff that they're going through, it's fun, it's meddlesome, it's whatever. I think Deadpool was a nice little wild card to throw into this book, but it really is just about the characters, and that's what's great about this. Kelly Thompson I don't know, she's really good at just showcasing characters. While everything is going on, while there's action and spectacle happening, every character feels true at all times, and they get a moment to shine. Their humanity shines through, and because of that, I feel like you can connect with the characters, even Deadpool in this book, which is a character I never felt connected to in any way. So I'm going to give this one 3.25 cute herpes.
I do have a question to pose to both of you about this issue. Sure. I know after the first one, you guys were not excited because of the ending. Right. Now that you've read it, are you more excited to continue versus what you were at the end of 1?
Yeah, because I think at the end of 1, I thought this was going to turn into some like epic space adventure and blah, blah. But no, this is just like, hey, you guys are fucking up our honeymoon. Can we get past this so we can get back to our honeymoon? I like that idea.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I thought once they were going to introduce Deadpool to it, I was going to be like, really? I thought we got past this whole let's put Deadpool in everything bit, and I was because I'm really annoyed by that. But, I mean, I was surprised. Kelly Thompson knows how to write Deadpool, and she writes him in a way where he is not super annoying and and just a bunch of dick and fart jokes. So
it's kind of the same way that Wonder Woman and Justice League Dark functions for me. I thought, okay, Wonder Woman's popular right now, they're gonna throw her into the Justice League Dark. She doesn't belong there. Kind of the same way here. Didn't think Deadpool belonged, but it actually it fits well.
Well,
especially because there's
history.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say because they addressed the history from the Uncanny Avengers, when they had a little fling. So I like that continuity as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I again also enjoyed this book. I mean, I was excited to see Deadpool thrown in just to see where they were going to go with it, and I'm glad the direction that Kelly Thompson took with it because it is really fun. Like you said, she showcases the characters great. I care about them, and as you also said, Josh, Deadpool isn't written to be stupid. He's annoying to those characters, but he's not annoying to us. He's serving his purpose for them, but we're enjoying it.
You know who does need his own book? Korg.
Korg
needs his own series, his own mini-series.
Let's start a petition.
Hashtag Kelly Thompson on Korg.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm down with that. I'd be down
I'll get down with that. All right.
We are Chung on the art.
And then what was you? Yes, absolutely. Jim Chung on the art.
He stopped. He was like, "I'm gonna cut him." No, wait. He said something.
Okay,
good.
so you gave your rating already.
3.25.
I'm gonna go even 3.
Okay.
I'm right there with you. Even 3.
All right. So as you guys can see, we're all enjoying it fairly well. And then moving on to the big issue this week, Dallas.
Punisher number 1. I've been following this series since he took over the War Machine mantle, and I gotta say the series has been a lot of fun. This is starting over, like I said, at number 1. So we have Matt Rosenberg and you go ahead.
I'm going to go Simon Kudransky.
Sure. Thank you for taking that away.
Sure.
We continue the storyline. Frank's just trying to make amends for...
But it's a loose connection.
It's a loose connection.
You don't have to have read the previous series, I don't think, to enjoy this one.
They also do a nice little recap at the beginning. They basically say he's trying to make amends for, basically in Secret Empire, I believe.
Yeah.
Where he goes over to the Hydra side and he's just trying to make amends for that. So, first thing I want to say, I literally opened up the first page and I was like, they took a completely different direction with the artwork.
Yeah.
And it completely works. Punisher does not look like John Bernthal. He looks like his own character, which is great. Not that I had complaints about John Bernthal, but I don't want that to be the reason people pick up the comic. I want them to pick up the comic for the comic itself. And the story is actually extremely interesting, even though it's fairly, you got to take it at face value. It's just a simple plot. But it's interesting because we see a resurfacing of a character that Josh pointed out that he doesn't remember seeing in recent years, other than, as we pointed out, in the Punisher series. So it's nice to see a integral Marvel villain that has played a key moment in certain events come back. So like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and graphically, in terms of gore and violence, it's right where a Punisher book should be. Yeah, there's some goofy things, randomly coming up with a tank that you just kind of have to accept it being, and it works in this comic.
It's a Punisher book, right?
Yeah. And I'm not complaining at all. So what do you guys think?
Well, I'm not a huge Punisher fan, to be honest. But I do really enjoy the artwork. This reading, for someone who isn't a Punisher fan, was still enjoyable, and you can read it and tell, this is why people who like Punisher, who are fans of Punisher, like Punisher comics. And so if you do like Punisher and you really like reading Punisher comics, it seems like this would be the dead-on thing for you.
Yeah, this is basically the exact opposite of Kelly Thompson's book. This is not a character piece. I mean, Punisher is really scarce throughout this book, but I mean, his presence is there. He's fucking shit up, and this is basically what you want from a Punisher book, as you guys have said. This is also basically the closest thing I think we've gotten to almost a Punisher Max thing since Punisher Max ended a number of years ago, back when Kitchen Irish and all that stuff was still going on. But it's a brutal book, and I'm loving the fact that they're taking some villains from other ongoing series or that have been prominently featured in here. You got some really cool group of villains in here, a really cool group of villains, and I'm really kind of bummed out that one gets axed in this book. But I gotta say, it was a good read, and I like that the Hydra thing is still alive and that there are repercussions to Secret Empire still playing themselves out. That is one thing that if you're going to do an event, make sure you see it through. Don't act like it never happened. And I like that the Punisher book is basically the only one carrying the torch still from Secret Empire.
Yeah. One thing I do want to ask you guys. Would you guys compare this to either Jaws or the Immortal Hulk #1, just because of they build up this fear about this thing being the Punisher, and because you're seeing it from a different perspective for about, I want to say the first half of the book, you don't even see Frank Castle.
Yeah.
It's just mentioned in words, and he's there, and you see some gunshots, but you don't see him. I got a very Jaws Immortal Hulk #1 feel, where they were trying to build up this fear for this character, as opposed to just the last run was all guns blazing, just destruction porn.
Yeah.
Whereas this one seems, while it's not a character piece, it's more of a fear piece in terms of the character, I guess, is the best way I'm going to say it.
I don't get a Jaws feel, but that's only because I've read other Punisher runs where they use the same tactic. When it came to Hulk, I've never seen that tactic used before, so I wouldn't really compare it to Jaws. I would say this is just more in keeping or more in line with the Punisher that I know and love.
It just reminds me of an intro to an action movie, where they discuss about about a certain character, and then they show them up about 15 minutes within the film or something.
So I'm going to go ahead and give my rating. I'm going to give this one a solid 3.25 flat herpes, or cute herpes.
Flat herpes.
Yeah, that's me trying to freeze them off,
I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 3.5 cute herpes.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going 3.
You were going to say 2.75, weren't you?
I was thinking about saying 2.75. But I don't know. I'm just it's really weird for me to judge it because I've never really cared for Punisher. There's only a couple. Punisher Max is probably the only Punisher run that I actually read that I liked.
If you guys want a really good Punisher Max series that if you haven't read this, check out by Jason Aaron and Matt Dillon, Punisher Max Kingpin and Punisher Max Bullseye. Great series.
So I'm on the fence because I read it and then I actually enjoyed it, but it's not a book that I would continue to get. So I'm kind of sitting on this thing. So I would say 3. I'm going to say 3 because I know that this is a Punisher book that if you like Punisher, this is definitely the book because it's one that I read and I actually enjoyed still. I read Avengers 6. So with Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. First thing I want to say is I can't say it enough. Ed McGuinness just keeps getting better and better. Each of his panels are just beautiful pieces of work of art that I'm just going, okay, I need that as a poster. Or I need that as some kind of, it's just sick and beautiful art. But it's following the whole battle with the Celestials. And actually, it's an epic fucking little book. I was first issue was great, and then there's a couple of issues that just felt like filler issues, and I was kind of worried about it. But after reading this, I mean, I'm loving this Avengers line, like this lineup and everything. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving this book. I mean, it is like we talked about with the Punisher. Not a character piece. This is just this is action. This is teamwork. This is, hey, something bad's going down. We need to react. We need to, put a stop to this. They do a really cool thing here where they basically say that the superheroes of Earth are kind of the Earth's pathogens, like, well, not the pathogens, but like they're the antibodies and the white blood cells in the Earth system, and that's what their function was, and that was like what their function was meant to be from the Celestials all these years ago. And I think that's a really cool idea. I hope that continues to kind of reverberate throughout the rest of the Marvel Universe. I want to see some other people acknowledge this, people like Reed, who's hopefully coming back in Fantastic Four. Hank Pym, those guys, I'd like to see what their response to something like that would be, that knowledge. That'd be great. But this book is nothing but nonstop fun, but I really do hope that after this we get some time to calm down and they go, okay, we're the new Avengers team, and we get some more, back in Brian Michael Bendis' heyday of the new Avengers, we get some great character moments together and some calm moments. I want to see the interaction between this team, but hell of a book, hell of an arc.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that's really good about this book is you got some heavy hitters on this team. You got Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. But the thing for me that I like most about it is my favorite characters that's on this lineup, which is characters I probably would never say was my favorite Avengers, is Ghost Rider and T'Challa.
Yeah. And Doctor Strange is badass in this. I mean, all of them are great.
Yeah, they're all great. But I'm like, you know what? I never really liked these characters a whole lot enough to get issues of them or really enjoy them in a team lineup. And man, those are like my two favorite team members on this team.
Yeah, I'd say these first 6 issues of the Avengers are a must-pick-up book if you're a Marvel fan, especially if you're an Avengers fan. Absolutely must-have. I'm going to go 3.75 cute herpes for that book.
I'm doing 3.75 too.
All right, and the last book I read was The Sentry by Jeff Lemire, art by Kim Jacinto and Joshua Cassara. Actually, this book it switches between 2 different artists, which I think is really cool. It's when things are going in like Sentry's mind, it's Kim Jacinto, and then when it's in the real world, it's a much darker, grittier, realistic take on things. But the art in this thing is beautiful, and if you're a Jeff Lemire fan, that whole psychology, the factor that he just likes to use psychology and dark and flawed and tortured characters, it's all emanating in this book. I mean, you're definitely going to want to pick up the Sentry book. In the cover, if you're looking at the cover, it's a little, it might be a little bit misleading, but they're introducing some new characters, adding to the mythology of Sentry that was created by Brian Michael Bendis and introduced in the new Avengers. So they're adding to that mythology as well. And it's not your typical straightforward superhero tale. This is not what I don't think anyone thought that's what this book was going to be, and it's not. And Jeff Lemire is continuing to show why he's kind of the master of this weird psychological horror corner of comic books. So
Twin Peakian comics.
Twin Peakian comic books. So I'm going to give this issue 3.25.
Nice.
Cute herpes. I say it's much better than the last issue, and now I'm finally getting an idea of where this book's going. I'm really excited for the next one.
All right, last book of the Marvel book for the day, Venom number 5 by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. The issue 4 was this origin story that kind of broke apart the actual main arc, and this kind of continues off of 3. And this book is actually they're adding these concepts with Venom and the symbiote to what makes it really good is the fact that you don't know a whole lot about the symbiote, and you start realizing that we really don't know a whole lot about it, and they're just adding this whole new origin and power stat for the symbiote that just never been heard of, and it's epic. And then Stegman on the art, it's beautiful artwork. But I would have to say for this book, I would give it a 3.25.
All right. I'm glad that you were very firm and decisive on that grading. You did not seem to question that at all.
I was kind of going back and forth from 3.5 to 3.25.
All right. Well, your energy is just infectious, so thank you for that. Guys, that is all we've got for you this week. If you were looking for the code phrase, I definitely recommend that you hit that DC video up that we've also got up this week. And if you haven't checked that one out, definitely do that. And if you already have, we will be with you guys next week with some other issues. We hope you like this one. Definitely hit that like button. Share with your nerdy friends. Comment below what you guys have been reading, what you think of the books that we did review. If we haven't reviewed the things that you are reading, anything, let us know about it. And of course, if you're not a subscriber already, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time.
Wait a minute.
What?
3.5. I decided 3.5.
All right. Take care, guys.